Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Minnesota Rack Stars podcast. I am your host, Joe Call, and this week we're going down, a few different avenues, talking about filming your own hunts, along with some of the criticism that I have faced here this last week on social media with my food plot. And we're going to bring you guys along with that because there's some interesting comments that were put on my social media platforms with my food plot strategy that I have going on this year, and you guys are going to hear all about it. But like I said, the main part of the show today is going to be about entering the world of filming your own hunts and where to start. What are some things to watch out for? Maybe some products to look at purchasing, some products to stay away from. Different strategies to use while you have your cameras out there, all that good stuff. So if you're interested in those things, this will be a good podcast for you. But I think the best part is listen to some of all the comments that people have been leaving on my social media platforms. If you haven't seen the videos yet, go on our Facebook page or Instagram page or TikTok or whatever, and check out some of the comments with my food plots that I have growing right now, because they're pretty comical, to say the least. And we're going to get going with the podcast. I hope you guys are having a great start to the week here, and let's get to it. All right. Hey, here we go again, you guys. It is late July, and there's a lot of things going on right now. There's no doubt about it. And to be honest with you, you better be taking advantage of this time, because summer is coming to an end here shortly. Before you know it, this is the last week of July here. August is going to be starting up, and things are going to be getting, wild here shortly, to say the least, because I haven't told my wife this yet, but I might be going on an antelope hunt here mid-August, so I'm going to have to maybe break the news to her here shortly. We'll see, but summer is definitely flying by, so make sure you're taking advantage of it out there. I know we've been taking a lot of trips this summer, and this last weekend we were up at the lake, and I don't know, I was just thinking when I was out on the lake, like, making this a point to you guys to get out there. I was talking to my brother-in-law, and they live down in Maple Grove, and they've been doing a lot of traveling themselves, and they've been up to the lake a couple times already this year, and one of them didn't really want to go. I don't know if it was John or Caitlin, didn't want to go up to the lake, but anyways, the other one was like, you know what? Come December, we're going to wish we were up at the lake, so let's just go. Here in the north, we don't have a whole lot of time to get out and take advantage of nice warm temperatures, so highly recommend to every single one of you out there, whether you're in the south, east, west, north, whatever, get out there and take advantage of the summer here, because it's a great time to travel, and it's a great time to get out there and experience the great outdoors. I know there are some things that give us a tough time, like deer flies, horse flies. The heat has been absolutely crazy. You know, it was funny when we were heading up to the lake this last weekend. I bet I saw 5 vehicles that had Texas license plates on their vehicle. And I'm like, what is going on? Why are there so many Texas license plates that I am seeing on the road? And I'm like, I told my wife, I said, yeah, the people from Texas, I don't know, maybe people from Texas go north in the summertime to get away from the heat, but I'll tell you what, it might have been hotter up here this last week than it was down in Texas, because it has been a scorcher up here. Yesterday when we were on our way home, we were going through Motley, and I looked up at the bank sign or whatever it was, and it showed 100 degrees, and I'm like, it just showed 98 on my truck. Maybe it's different. I looked down at my truck, I'm like, no, it shows 100. She was hot, and I think today it's supposed to be about 96. And it's been absolutely insane, insanely hot. We've been dry. We haven't had a whole lot of rain, but I see in the 10-day forecast there's finally a chance for rain on Thursday here, so I might have to get out and put some fertilizer on the field to help my field out, which we're going to be talking about here shortly, because I've posted a few videos on social media where I've kind of given an update on my no-till plot and whatnot, and there's been some people telling me that doing things right. So we're gonna get into that a little bit and talk about that. But just kind of going back to getting outside and enjoying the summer yet. Uh, I was out fishing this last weekend here, and I tell you what, it was perfect. I mean, it was gonna be hot out, so my brother-in-law decided, let's go out early before it gets too warm outside, and we're gonna get out and go do some fishing. We went to a neighboring lake, and we got out there, and it was just calm as could be. I mean, there's been a lot of times, I shouldn't say a lot of times, I've probably been out fishing 10 times this year or so, but the winds have just been crazy this summer. And this past weekend, it was just dead calm. I think Saturday it was a high of 4 mile an hour winds, and Sunday I think it was 9. But it was just calm as could be out there, and just it's a really cool feeling cutting across a nice calm lake, and you're not getting beaten up and thrown around. But we had it out there, and it was just absolutely amazing. Just the experience going out there and being out on the lake, and there wasn't really anybody out there yet. It was just really calm, peaceful, and I think this is the part of fishing that I really like, where I know, with technology evolving here with fishing and live scope and all that stuff, um, some of this I think has been taken out of the game of fishing, and that is just being at peace and having good conversations with the people in your boat, right? And not saying people who use live scope don't have good conversations with people in their boat, but it's kind of like people being on cell phones when they're having a conversation with somebody, where they're sitting there staring at their phone, and somebody's talking to them, and they're like, yep, 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 and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, what'd you say? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. And I think that happens sometimes because I kind of experienced it. I'm trying out this new Humminbird fish locator. It's got down imaging, side imaging. The fish guide is letting me borrow it on my boat here for a while and get to learn it here for a little bit. But I was using that, but I caught myself at times staring at that screen too much and not looking at the calm water and the eagles flying around and the loons and all that stuff, and just being committed in a conversation while out there fishing. And my brother-in-law John and I were talking, and I'm like, to me, like, fishing, that's what fishing was all about. Back in the day, it was just going out, relaxing, catching fish, getting after it. And now it's kind of transitioned to more of a real life video game to some extent, but also at the same time, kind of like I said, you're staring at a screen and trying to have conversations and looking up. I mean, to me, there was times where I was looking at a screen more than I was looking at the water or looking at the trees or looking at the sky or the sunrise or whatever it was. But yeah, it was a great weekend out on the lake, and to kind of top it off and just being out there that moment. John and I actually had some pretty good conversations about our beliefs and religion and all that stuff, and I think that's just a great addition to being in the outdoors, and sometimes having some of those conversations, because I think that was the best conversation that we had all weekend out there fishing. So it's just a great time to get outside right now and enjoy the outdoors while you can, especially for us up here in the north, because sooner or later it's going to be freezing. My daughter asked me, would you rather tomorrow it be 100 degrees or would you rather have it be freezing? And I'm like, well, I'd rather have it really hot right now, because I know the freezing temps are coming no matter what here in the near future as well. So, yeah, just great opportunity to get out and enjoy the outdoors right now. And like I said, sometimes it's nice getting out on the boat and out on the water and just reflecting on all the things to be thankful for and all that good stuff. So yeah, it was a great weekend. The other thing too, trail camera photos are starting to roll in right now. These bucks they're not quite fully developed yet, but they're pretty darn close. And people have been sending me some trail camera photos, and people are getting excited about some of the big deer that are on their property right now. And it's just kind of one thing I wanted to bring up. If you're not getting any trail camera photos of big bucks or deer or deer in general, I guess, make your adjustment. It's no different than actually hunting, right? So if you're sitting there and, well, I'm not getting any trail camera photos, try something different. And you can take that however you want, but try something different, whether it's placing the camera in a different spot, adding something to maybe attract the deer a little bit, whatever that is, if it's legal in your state. But yeah, try to figure out what it is that you're not doing right, or maybe your trail camera is in the wrong spot, or whatever it is. Maybe you're in the right spot, but you don't have something there that's maybe funneling them in front of your camera. So just think about that as you're moving forward here. If you're not getting any trail camera photos, make an adjustment. Make an adjustment on what you might need to do to increase the chances of getting some trail camera photos, because there's deer out there. There's deer out there. Don't kid yourself. But yeah, so it's cranking up a lot, and I know a lot of hunters are getting pretty excited. The other thing too, with your trail cameras, food plots are a great spot to have your trail cameras right now, and that's where we're going to kind of transition into right now and give you a little update on my no-till food plot that I have going on right here, right now. Well, first, I needed a little cup of coffee there. We're doing this podcast here in the morning. But my no-till food plot is, in my mind, for what I have into it, is doing really good. And this is the first year that I've tried this strategy. Okay, keep that in mind. This is the first year that I've tried this strategy. And right now I'm seeing, I would say if there was a scale, I would say we're at, in my mind, uh, 80% of where I would like it to be. And that's a better percentage than most of my high school grades that I received when I was younger. So 80% for me is pretty good, I guess. But yeah, I would say overall, I mean, it's tough to say too, because I did not put a seclusion cage out there, so to see exactly how good of production I have with my beans. My beans are the ones that are struggling the most. The corn, I think, is doing fine for not putting any fertilizer down, probably not getting the seed deep enough with the no-till. But I would say, in all honesty, everything is doing what I kind of expected it to do. I wish it would be doing a little better, but the one thing is the beans are really getting nipped off by the deer. And I thought I seeded it heavy enough, but looking at it now, I probably could have upped the seed rate just a little bit more. But the corn is, I planted it in two different waves because there was one spot that I planted into standing weeds, and then the other spot was standing rye. Well, I started planting in the standing weeds, which was fine, and I was going to go right through the standing rye, but the problem was the rye, my side-by-side does not have a cab, and as I was going through the rye, there was pollen all over on those rye seed heads, and it was just hitting me in the face. I'm like, okay, I'm not seeding into this rye, which would have been too early to no-till into that anyways. So I planted into the standing weeds, and then a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I came back and planted into that rye. But as far as growth has gone right now, the stuff that I planted earlier into the weeds is probably about thigh, waist high on me, and I'm about 6 foot. And then the stuff that I planted a little later is around that knee high. And I don't know, I packed the stuff that I planted into the rye, and it seems like the germination looks a little better than the other portion that I didn't pack down. However, the portion that I did not pack down, it was a lot more moist, and the ground was a lot more soft, and those packing wheels were able to pack the seed into the ground fairly decent. So I did get a decent amount of germination on that first part, and then also the second part as well. But there were some dead spots in there where there's nothing coming up. But Was that because, the ground was solid there, the drill wasn't, pressed into the ground? Did deer come in and nibble that spot off? I don't know, but I will be coming through and doing some overseeding once we get some rain in the forecast here in a few weeks. But coming in and overseeding, maybe with some more rye or some brassicas into that field as well. So I'm going to be filling that in. But I would say, like I said, for the amount of effort that I put into it, and that's what I kind of expected going into the no-till process, was I'm going to save some money on fuel and hopefully save some money on fertilizer expenses and all those things. Granted, I still want to get a good crop out of it, but I kind of want to see how things go. There's still good color with the corn for the most part. There's still good color with the beans. I will add a touch of fertilizer with it moving forward here. But like I said, I need some rain for it first. I'm not going to throw it out there and have everything evaporate into the sky. But yeah, for the most part, I would say 80% success in my mind. And I have posted a few videos of the updates on my plot on social media, and you need to go and check out some of these comments because they're pretty comical to say the least. And I think the best one on there so far is the point of the video was showing how no-tilling into rye and matting that rye down on the ground can help preserve moisture. And I pull back the rye, and there's a worm there, and then I kind of dig my finger into the soil, and it is like moist. Like you can pull out a dirt ball onto your finger and roll it around, and it was just really, really moist underneath that rye. And then I go over to the spot where I no-tilled into the standing weeds, which I sprayed off, and I kind of rub my finger on the dirt, and it's just like solid. It's like concrete. And I said, it kind of hurts your fingers. And the best comment on there, you got soft hands, bro. It's funny. But yeah, it's pretty comical. There's some other comments on there, and I think that's the one thing with society and us as a whole. We're very quick to complain about things, and we're very quick to criticize other people about things. And it's no different than family members sitting there saying, well, why don't you do this, or why don't you do that, or what are they doing? Or you see in somebody on social media, it's like, what the heck? And it's funny because these comments that are on there, bashing me with my strategy that I used and whatnot. Another one of the other good comments on there was, yeah, you have moisture in your soil because you have nothing growing there to soak up the moisture. So yeah, it's pretty good, but I think that's one of the things that kind of leading us into our main topic for today. And what I'm going to kind of go down the road of is kind of filming your own hunts, right? And when you do this stuff, you have to have thick skin, right? Or a sense of humor. And I think I have more of a sense of humor than thick skin. I mean, I have fairly thick skin. It's gotten a little thinner as time has gone on. When I was younger, I think I had a little more thick skin than I do now. But compared to a lot of people, I think I have pretty thick skin. But I think the best trait that I have is I have a sense of humor, and sometimes that gets me in trouble. But going into filming your hunts and putting them out there for people to see, you have to understand that you are going to face some criticism at some point, and I have, there's no doubt, whether it's on social media and people actually putting things out there, or people just, talking behind my back and saying things that, what is he doing or whatever, which I don't really care. I enjoy what I do, and that's why I do this. So it's a lot of fun to me, and if you're going to film, right? So let's start diving down this road. If you're going to film, like I said, first of all, you got to have thick skin. You got to have the ability to deal with criticism and all that stuff, but turn that into humor, right? Turn that into a positive, and that's where I kind of started filming. Was I mean, actually, to go way back when I first started filming, we were in junior high, uh, high school time frame, and we just liked going out and filming. My mom and dad filmed a lot of things, throughout our lives, and we had video cameras laying around, so we decided to start filming because we liked watching deer hunting videos on TV. And it's like, well, let's do this because it's a lot of fun, right? You see these people having a lot of fun on TV, videotaping their hunts. Let's do it also. So we started videotaping a lot. But then as time progressed, I actually emailed an individual who had a hunting show to see if we could film and be a part of that show. And I got shut down. And he said, no, your content isn't good enough, which, I'm no professional by any means, but I enjoy doing it. And kind of shut me down. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do it anyways. And I just kind of kept moving forward and continued to do it because of that motivation of somebody telling me that I couldn't do it. And I think that's one, I don't know, piece of advice that I have for a lot of people out there. And it's not just in this situation here, but it's in sports, it's in your job, career, all that stuff. Is when somebody tells you you're not good enough, do something with that and use it for fuel, right? There's a big part of me that gets really frustrated when I see somebody being told that they're not good enough or they can't do it right or whatever, and then they just collapse and the rocks just come falling down and there's an avalanche and it's over. Have that mindset where when somebody tells you you can't, prove them wrong. And that's how people become successful. And I've shared this with my athletes before and I've told them, like, the reason why you're still standing here is because you have that trait. You have that ability to take constructive criticism from your coaches or your teammates and turn that around and use it as motivation. And you guys are going to be successful because you have that trait. The people who don't have that trait are already gone, like whether they've quit or don't want to come out for basketball because they can't hear the negatives. They have a tough time dealing with the negatives or they have a tough time failing. And that's the part that I think my brother-in-law were having this conversation as well. That's where, multi-sport athletes succeed is because they do fail in some of these other sports and they can handle it. And they use that as fuel and motivation moving forward where you get these, sometimes, not all of them, but sometimes you get these specialized athletes that maybe just play one sport and usually they're successful in it. But when they don't have success, they crumble, right? Where if they're in another sport where they're not as successful and they keep developing that never say die attitude, right? Or I'm gonna overcome this adversity to excel and get better. Those are the people in our minds that really succeed. And I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means, but that's what I've seen. Whether it's professional athletes, CEOs, all that stuff. Every one of those individuals have faced some form of criticism or adversity, and it's the skills that they've developed throughout the years to overcome that and be successful. So keep that in mind. And when you're going into filming, you're going to have that. You're going to have failure. You're going to miss a shot at a deer or miss an opportunity to shoot a deer because of your filming if you're really engaged and dedicated to doing it. But then it's like, are you going to be the person to throw the camera away? Or are you going to be the person to say, you know what, it didn't work for me this time, but I'm going to get it next time? And that's what I have done throughout the years because I've missed my fair share of opportunities at some good deer because of my camera, and I've had people criticize me for it. But to me, that just fuels my fire to get back out there and do it again to prove people wrong that I can do this. And then that's not my only motivation, but that helps my motivation moving forward. And I'll kind of get into the benefits at the end of this that I see in filming. So keep that in mind starting out, because you miss a shot or you have a bad shot, right, on a deer and people see it, they're going to let you know their thoughts on it. But that's just something to keep in mind moving forward. So that's kind of how I started out, getting into this. So going through, just kind of different things, items, mental state, all that stuff, you have to have patience as well. You have to be willing to turn your camera on, right? Get the deer in the screen, um, wait for that perfect shot. Don't panic. All those things. The patience is the biggest thing when you're out there filming. And I'm going to try to give you some tips going along the way to kind of help with the patience in the process of all these things to hopefully get that perfect shot on camera. So number one thing is patience. It's not might not work right away, but if you're patient with it, eventually you're going to get a really good opportunity to maybe get the kill shot on there, maybe get the deer tipping over, have multiple angles, all that stuff. So the biggest thing is patience. And another part of patience is people don't understand this, and people kind of get impatient with me who hunt with me, is when I'm getting geared up to go out hunting, like I'm changing at the truck or whatever, it takes me a long time to get packed up because, as you can see behind me, I have a lot of different items that I have to pack in my bag, whether it's my camera gear, whether it's my tree arm, all that stuff, GoPros, my bow, my tree steps, my stand, all that stuff. There's so much stuff you have to pack in, and there's a mindset that I've kind of developed throughout the years as I've gotten older, and I also relay this message to my athletes. It's kind of like going into the weight room, right? There's times where you don't want to go into the weight room. Well, go into the weight room because you don't want to. Prove yourself wrong that, you know what, I don't want to, but I'm going to because I don't want to. And that's kind of the mentality I have with packing all this stuff in, because I see other people going out in the stand where they just hop out, they get their camo on, they grab their stand, they grab their sticks, they grab their bow, and they start walking. Where me, I grab all that, plus I have to get my camera set up, my tree arm packed in, all this stuff, and I have most of my stuff ready to go, but still there's a lot of putting on pieces so that I'm not up in the stand putting my microphone on, clipping this on, clipping that on, all that stuff. So you have to have that patience to do this, but also that mentality. If you're going to do this, if you're going to be committed to it, you have to understand that it's going to take you a lot longer to get ready to go out in the field versus your buddy who just throws his stuff on and wants to go. And then you kind of look over at him. It's like, man, that'd be a lot easier to do that. Or you're sitting there with a, 15-pound pack on, and there he's got a backpack on with a little Debbie in there or whatever, So it's a lot easier to go that other route. But myself, I have that mentality where I don't care how hard it is. I'm going to get after it because I know the benefits of doing this, and I really enjoy it. So that's the first big thing when it comes to filming hunts, is that you need to have a lot of patience. All right. So moving on here. So patience, big one. Start small. All right. So start small. Don't go all in, and sometimes people, you'll see on Facebook Marketplace, you'll see a whole setup of camera gear for sale, right? And the price tag looks a lot better than buying everything separate and brand new and all that. Um, but just be careful, and I would highly recommend start small. And to be honest with you, if I were you and you're thinking about filming, start out with like a GoPro or something. And there's some other brand name cameras out there. To be honest with you, I don't know what the new GoPro camera is. The new GoPro batteries are like right now. I've heard they're a little better now, but just be careful with your GoPro batteries, because when it gets a little chilly outside, those batteries do not last long. So there are some other small handy cameras that you can use that have good image quality that might be a little better for us in the outdoors when it comes to hunting when it's a little cooler outside. These cameras work great in the summertime, but when it gets a little colder out, those batteries don't last long, and you don't want to be out in the field and all of a sudden your camera won't turn on, because I've had that happen to me. So start small with something like a GoPro, whatever brand name. Do your research, do your homework, and see what's out there. I think it was a DGI or something, maybe DJI might have something. So look into that a little bit, but start small. Now that price tag isn't very small, but at least you can use like a GoPro or whatever for other things as well. Where if you buy a handheld camera, you're kind of limited on what you can do. These guys are a lot smaller, and they do a pretty good job when they work. But start small with a GoPro. You can do multiple things with a GoPro. You can set the GoPro up behind you and have an over-the-shoulder shot, which is awesome. This last year, the buck that I shot in South Dakota, I had a GoPro going over my shoulder, and that is what actually captured the shot on film was my over-the-shoulder GoPro, and it's me following the deer around, me pulling back on it, and letting the arrow rip, and the deer was just in the bottom bottom corner of the screen when I shot. But what happened was my handheld camera SIM card ran out of storage as that deer was coming in, and I don't know if I would have been able to swing that arm around because that deer was in so close. But that's why it's kind of important if you really get into it to have multiple angles, try to cover your back when filming in case something goes wrong. So that GoPro you can have over your shoulder, you can have it out in front of you, kind of seeing, like if you have a 15-yard window where you can shoot, just mount that camera facing that 15-yard window where you can shoot, and you see that deer coming in, boom, you just hit that record button and the camera fires up, and you're able to see, what you're going to be shooting at with your GoPro. The other thing is they make stabilizer mounts for these guys, and that was another angle that I ended up getting the shot on this last year out in South Dakota. I had the over-the-shoulder GoPro going, then I had my older GoPro going on my stabilizer, and that one's going to get the shot every time. However, here's a little tip for you. You see a lot of people using those stabilizer mounts, but the thing is, you got to remember, when you're shooting with a stabilizer mount camera, after you shoot, you need to hold that follow through and then keep your bow on the deer the whole way. And that's the one thing I did a fairly good job of. But what a lot of people will do is they'll shoot and they'll pull their bow away. Well, now your camera is off. You see a lot of people using the Tacticam stabilizer cameras. And if you watch and pay attention on TV or YouTube or whatever, that video clip doesn't last too long because people end up shooting and then they pull their bow away right away. Well, your footage isn't great when your bow's pulled away and it's facing straight at the ground. So if you're going to be using that stabilizer mount, I highly, highly recommend after you shoot, hold your follow through, and that'll help you on your shot. If you hold that follow through, you let go and you try to stay on that deer, right? And that's what I try to do after I shoot my bow is I keep that pin on that deer as long as I can until that arrow hits before I kind of let away. But here, you let it rip and you stay on that deer with your pin, but also your camera's going to be right there as well, and then you kind of follow the deer as it runs away. So just a little tip there for using smaller cameras that you can place on your bow or behind your tree or on your tree or your deer stand or whatever. But start out small, and if you're really enjoying that and you're feeling really, really committed, that's when you can start making the transition to getting your handheld camera, right? And next to me here, I have my Canon G50, and this is what I like because it's a lot smaller, it's a lot lighter. I actually started out with a lot bigger camera that I still have. I have two of them. Actually, I'm going to go get this real quick and show you guys who are watching on YouTube here. So I'll be right back. All right, we're back here. So if you're watching on YouTube, so this is the camera that I use now. This is the camera I started out with. And this camera is fine. It did a great job. There's a lot of manual settings on here that are really good. This one here is a Sony, what the heck was it again? AX2000 or something, I believe it was. But anyways, as you can see, I mean, this is pretty high tech. I mean, pretty professional. I got dust all over this thing because I haven't used it in a while. But this thing is awesome if you have an extra cameraman or whatever. But this is the guy I carried out there all the time when I first started hunting, and then I transitioned to this guy here, and there's about a 4 or 5 pound difference in the two. But yeah, this guy here works really good. The Canon G50, and there's a lot of good things about it. It's 4K. I know the Ks have gone up throughout the years, but another thing you notice with this guy here, there's two SD card holders for it, so you have a backup if one gets full. I had one SD card in there, that's why I ran out of SD footage or memory when I was out in South Dakota. But this also has 20 times zoom, which really can bring you in tight with your close-ups. So really good camera. It's really light. I also have the microphone on top, and you're going to want a microphone, an external microphone here that you attach to your camera, because when it is windy out, you're going to get a lot of feedback with your audio with the wind, and that's where when you buy a small camera like a GoPro or whatever, make sure you look into the microphone on it, if there's a windsock that goes on it, or if it has a, I don't know. I've seen and used editing tools to like take wind out of the video, and it just kind of distorts the audio too much. So I highly recommend, if you're going to do this and you're going to be serious about it, get a external microphone, but make sure there's some type of windsock or protection on there for that annoying wind blowing through your microphone, because that plays a huge factor in your production of your video. So yeah, so that's what I use. It's a Canon G50. Eventually here I'll probably upgrade a little bit, but just be careful too when you're buying on Marketplace. You don't know with electronics, you don't know what this guy has been through. You don't know what somebody else's has been through. So just keep that in mind. Is it worth gambling on something you're buying from Marketplace? I mean, I've bought vehicles on Marketplace, and yeah, there's been some issues with them, but yeah, it's just weighing things out a little bit. So yeah, the first thing here is just the Canon G50. Make sure you have that external microphone with it to help with the audio. Now, I highly recommend if you have a camera guy, and I know there are people out there that do solo filming with DSLRs, but I'll tell you what, it's extremely difficult to control this guy, because with the Canon G50 here, handheld cameras like that, you can use this guy right here, which is a VariZoom RL100. But what it is it's a handheld controller that plugs into your camera, and I can zoom in and zoom out with it. And that helps so much, because when I'm hunting and I have my bow or my gun in one hand, now all I have to do is hold my camera arm with that remote control mounted on it, and this just screws right onto the handle here. You put the handle through here and you mount it on there. I can control my zooming in, zooming out with one hand on that camera, where a DSLR, manually you have to turn your lens to zoom in and zoom out, and that is almost impossible to do with one hand, with having your tree arm being able to maneuver around smoothly and all that stuff. So in order to zoom in with a DSLR, you have to turn your lens to zoom in and zoom out, and your focus and all that stuff is just a little more difficult to perform with a DSLR. However, your image quality is a lot better on a DSLR versus a normal handheld camera. So there's some things I like about this, but when you're going solo, it is very difficult to film with this guy. But if I ever get a camera guy, this is what we'll be using to film with. And this one here is a Nikon D7500, and this guy has very good image quality. There are a couple different lenses that I would like with it, but this is what I have for right now. But this guy here is phenomenal. So if you do have a DSLR and you don't have a handheld, go out there with the DSLR and play around with it. But just know that you might get handcuffed, because you almost need two hands on the DSLR to hold the camera, zoom in, put it in the spot that you want to make sure the deer is going to be in the focus or in the lens, and where the handheld camera, you can use that very zoom rocker controller where you can zoom in, zoom out with one hand while still having your bow, and is ready. As soon as you're ready to shoot that deer, you take your hand off the controller and boom, you're right to your bow or your gun and you shoot. So it's a lot easier with the handheld versus the DSLR, but the DSLR is going to have a lot better quality image in the end. The last thing here is my tree arm, and I've used a few different tree arms in the past, and this is what we're with now. We're with the 4th Arrow camera arm here, and this one here has 3 sections to reach out there fairly far and be able to maneuver in different ways. This thing is so much lighter than the other ones that I have used in the past. So I highly recommend, if you're going to get a tree arm, going through 4th Arrow camera arms. A lot lighter, fairly affordable. You know, they're right there with everybody else. You're not going to find a cheap camera arm. There's no doubt about it. But by far the easiest camera arm that I've used. All you do is you mount this mounting bracket to the tree here. There's a ratchet strap that'll go around, and then you level out your bracket here, and then you just slide this guy on, and you are ready to go. Now, if you see at the end of this camera arm here, there's no place to put the camera, and that's another purchase you're going to have to look at getting, is your camera head here, your bulkhead here, that'll screw onto here, and then you slide your camera on to the end of the camera arm. So that's kind of my setup that I have with my camera arm and my cameras and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's like I said, that's the thing. You have to have the patience and the mindset that, you know what, if I do fail, I'm going to keep getting after it no matter what. And if you struggle a little bit with that or question yourself a little bit with that, then like I said, just start with the GoPro for right now. Don't go and buy all this stuff right away. Just kind of think about that before you go and hit purchase or buy or go meet somebody in a black, dark parking lot to go make a Facebook Marketplace purchase. So keep that in mind. Just kind of, oh yeah, the last thing you're going to need. So you have all that stuff, right? Well, once you have your video, you know, if it's, maybe it's your GoPro or whatever, you could download directly to your phone and do some editing on there. If you're looking to do some short reels or whatever, you might be able to edit on your phone. But if you're getting into it hardcore, you're going to need a computer, right? You're going to need editing software, all that stuff. So keep that in mind moving forward. But yeah, there's a lot of things you need for it. But in the end, in my mind, is it worth it? 100%. Because I've been doing this for a long time, and I've seen a lot of cool responses from people. I've been able to be in my living room in the morning. My kids come walking down, and they ask, can we watch your hunt where the deer jumps in the water? Or can we watch our shed hunting video where we go find those sheds? And can we watch where you did this, Dad? I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. And it's an opportunity for my kids to see what Daddy does, right? And you know, they ask questions all the time. When you were younger, did you do this? When you were younger, did you do that? Well, now I can take that video and say, here, look it, this is what I did. This is when I was going out to South Dakota. This is when I was out in Wisconsin. This is when I was in North Dakota, whatever. Here it is, and they get to see it. And I think that it's going to help a lot, you know, moving down the line, not only for them, but for myself, because I have a really short-term memory to go back and kind of relive these things. There's videos now that I'm like, geez, I forgot all about this video and what happened. So for that, I don't know, that feeling of remembering and my kids to be able to see it, I think that's really cool. And also just seeing things that, I don't know, I'm able to capture that very few people have seen before. Like the one video that I posted where I had a pack of 8 timber wolves come through. How many people have seen a pack of 8 timber wolves come through while you're bow hunting? Um, so that's it's just cool, just catching those moments that are very rare, because you talk to people, well, I saw this or I saw that, and like, oh, cool, whatever. But then all of a sudden you actually see it, it's like, dang, it's for real, So that's pretty cool too. Um, I don't know. I think that's the biggest thing, and those memories are going to be there forever, right? And I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to filming. It's about creating those memories and putting them on, whether it's the platform or just having for my kids to see and myself to see and to have growing up, but also at the same time to help educate, whether it's to help educate you guys or to help educate myself from you guys, right? On getting comments, whether it's about my food plots or a hunting strategy or whatever, asking you guys for your engagement with um, with all this stuff. And I don't know, it's just something I really enjoy. I enjoy working with our partners. And speaking of our partners, if you guys haven't taken advantage of the discount code from Arctic Shield, make sure you do that. It's RACK20, RACK20. I just went online and yep, the code is still there. So make sure you're taking advantage of that opportunity. And that's another thing that I like about doing this stuff. I get to work with cool people like Arctic Shield and all of our partners out there. And then in return for us doing this stuff, they give you guys an opportunity to take advantage of discount codes and special offers, by listening to our podcast and supporting us. So make sure you keep that in mind moving forward. Okay. I don't know. It's getting really close, guys. I need to get out and start cranking up the bow a little bit and shooting that guy. Yeah, it's right around the corner here. It's not too far away, and I don't know. I'm enjoying the moment right now. There was a moment this last week where I saw people really rushed, and it was like, we have to do this because of this time frame or whatever. And I was like, okay, there's no agenda here. There's no meeting you have to get to. Enjoy the moment you're in right now. And we all get caught up in that situation where all of a sudden it's like, we have to go, we have to go, we have to go. It's like, what's happening right now? And that's what we all need to focus on, whether it's in life, our hunting season, all that stuff. And I think we get really pushed mentally sometimes, and we've got to hit the pause button, slow things down, and that's where that patience comes into play. And it's easier for outsiders to look at that and see that and recognize that, but it's very difficult for people to hit that pause button and slow down. And just kind of want to end on this one because there's we went to church as a family this past weekend, the in-laws and my kids, we were all there, and that was kind of one of the messages they left us with. And one of the stories was there was an individual out in the field, and he found a treasure, and he bought the whole field because of this treasure, and just relating that treasure to, we have stumbled upon a treasure that day on Sunday, and that was going to church, and that is our treasure, right? And just slowing things down, and that's why I think some people maybe don't make it to church on Sunday or Saturday or whenever your service is because we struggle slowing things down. And that's the one thing I want to leave you guys with is the summer is here. Slow things down. Take advantage of it, right? And I know we get tired and things are expensive and all that stuff, but slow things down. Take advantage of it, right? Whether it's getting out on a lake, whether it's going to a movie, whether it's going out to dinner, calling up a friend, calling up a parent or whatever, and maybe apologizing to somebody that you kind of feel like, oh, I messed up, but I don't know how to say it. Maybe it's that, whatever it is. Take a moment in your life right now, hit that pause button, reflect on what has been on your mind, and assess the situation, right? Whether it's anxiety, right? What are you struggling with? What is that fear you're struggling with right now? And ask yourself, why? What do I need to do to change this stuff? What is the issue here? And see if you can fix it, right? So I challenge you guys out there this week to hit that pause button, slow things down, and think things through a little bit. Be thankful for everything, and also, like I said in the last podcast, if you didn't this last week, this next Sunday you have another opportunity to try to get into church, and maybe if you haven't been there in a while, or maybe you've never been there, give it a try. And there's a lot of good resources that I have that can kind of point you in the right direction. Because I'll tell you what, going to church for me isn't just, I don't know, a moment where you get to just go in with your family and be thankful for everything. It's an opportunity to refresh the mind. And I know there's a lot of things out there and studies out there for X, Y, and Z to help with the mental side of things, but I think we nailed it on the head when we were talking this weekend when we were fishing. Going to church is a reset button for the mind, because you can go into church and leave feeling refreshed and good about yourself. And that's the one thing I like. Like going there, you have to take time out of your day. You might have to get up a little early or whatever. But I guarantee you, if you have a church that, does a great job of incorporating, music and scripture and just giving positive messages, you are going to feel so refreshed after going there and be thankful that you went there. So I highly recommend, like I said, if you didn't get there this last week, you got this next week to do it. And males, I'm talking to you, because you guys have a lot to say in your household. I challenge you guys to get out there and say, you know what, guys, we're going to church. And the wife wants to go with you. Cool. If she doesn't, that's fine. Get there yourself. Bring your kids, whatever, because that's what it's about. It's about shaping and molding not only yourself, but also your kids moving forward and giving them an opportunity to be successful. And like I said, be thankful for everything you have. Hit that pause button this week, reflect a little bit, be patient, and be good. So, all right, we're going to shut things down. I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll catch you later. All right, thanks for listening, you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying your day. Like I said, big takeaway today is patience, mindset, all those things, because in order to film your hunt, you have to have the right mindset, you have to be patient, and all those things add up. So, I want to thank you guys for listening. Make sure you guys take advantage of that discount code that I mentioned through Arctic Shield. It's RACK20. Don't wait around too long, to purchase what you need. So that's RACK20. Make sure you do that. Also, there's a lot of different things that are about to happen here this fall, whether it's deer stand stuff, whether it's filming your hunts. Food plot season is right around the corner here for fall food plots. All those people are involved with us in some way, shape, or form through our partnerships. So, like I said, Arctic Shield, take advantage of that code, RACK20. Domain Outdoor, your food plots, right? All your food plot seed that you need, Domain Outdoor has that. So make sure you're getting those orders in now. You don't have to have it in the ground right now, but get it ordered now, because I know those guys are getting swamped right now with orders. So make sure you get in and get your order through Domain Outdoor. J&R Outdoors, there's so many people, including myself at times. Like right now, we're not thinking about cold temperatures. Right now, it's hotter than heck outside. I think today's supposed to be 99. Yesterday was 100. But you need to understand that temperature is going to change here, and we're going to be faced with some frigid temps. And a lot of times, there's some big boys still running around out there when those temperatures get really cold. And there's nothing better than being in an enclosed box stand, maybe even a heater, especially if you're going to be bringing out young kids or your wife or your husband or whoever, and you want to make it enjoyable for them and even yourself, getting that nice box stand from J&R Outdoors, throw a heater in there, all that stuff. So keep that in mind moving forward. Skullcraft, right? You're going to be harvesting a nice buck this year, and you want to do a European mount, get a hold of Justin at Skullcraft. Also, go ahead and check out some of his social media pages too. He's got some good stuff going on there. He's a comedian, to say the least. So get out there, check that out. The Fish Guide, right? Nick is out there guiding people just about every single day. Make sure you give him a shout or check out his website. He's got a really cool website going on there. I know he's been sending me some pictures of some big fish they've been catching, and he's been just nailing it with his clients, his family. They went on a trip a couple weeks ago, and they got some really big fish. So if you're looking to take a guided trip, or time is running out, or maybe you're not sure on how to I don't know, try to catch specific species or whatever, you can talk to Nick and he can help you out along the way. You're not just going to go there and catch fish, you're going to catch an education as well. I can guarantee you that. All right. S1K Custom Calls, Brad making those turkey calls, right? It's never too early or never too late to purchase that turkey call for the next season, and try to play around with things a little bit and see which one you like. So give Brad a shout at S1K Custom Calls. And lastly, if you are going to be trying to film your own hunt this year, I highly recommend Fourth Arrow camera arms, because they're the lightest camera arm that I have used before. They work really well, and I guess the biggest thing is that they're very user friendly. There's no doubt about it. So Fourth Arrow camera arms, if you're going to go and film your hunts, highly recommend that. I also highly recommend, kind of what I left the podcast off with, was just taking time this week to sit back, hit the pause button, reflect on some things that you could do this week to, I don't know, maybe not to, but for a positive, for a benefit, whether it's for someone else, whether it's for your own state of mind, whatever. Hit the pause button, do something positive this week. That's my challenge for you. So I thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have a great week. Take care.